We are on Deep Dive for Module 2, Lesson 28. You will need scissors, a glue stick, and your blue workbook today. We are going to focus on some vocabulary words. We have the word groaned, shouted, roared, soundlessly, whisper, murmur, and mumble. Excuse me. This is from page 2 of our book about John Henry. I want you to think about how I read this. I'm going to take a drink of water first before I read. I want to work on reading fluently. Okay. A hush settled over the hills. The sky swirled soundlessly round the moon. The river stopped murmuring. The wind stopped whispering. And the frogs and the owls and the crickets fell silent, all watching and waiting and listening. How did I read the sound words? What did you notice about them? Did you notice that they were all kind of quiet? I made my voice match the words. I'm going to read another section from our book, John Henry. I want you to do the same thing. Think about how I'm reading these words. Then the river roared. The wind whispered and whistled and sang. The frogs croaked. The owls hooted. And all the crickets chirped. Welcome, welcome, echoed through the hills. How did I read these sound words? What did you notice about them? Did they seem louder and much more lively than the first group of words? I made my voice match the different words again. If you notice, I read roared louder than the other words. Authors carefully choose words to build a movie in the reader's mind, so that when you're reading something, you're able to picture what's happening. Today, you're going to create a word line to examine the sound words and their strength. In your blue workbook, please find the page that says Handout 28A, Word Line. And if you don't have scissors and a glue stick yet, you can get those now. Go ahead and pause the video if you need time to collect your materials. Okay, looking at this word line, the words at the bottom are the words that you heard me read in the two sections that I read to you. We have silent, groaned, shouted, shrieked, roared, soundlessly, whisper, murmur, and mumble. So not all of them were in the two paragraphs that I read, but most of them are. We are going to put these words in order from the quietest sound to the loudest. So looking at our words, what do you think would be the quietest? It would go on the left of our line. You think silent is the quietest? I think so too. So let's go ahead and put silent on the left. Oops. So this will be our quietest word. Out of all the words, that is the quietest. And you can cut that out with your scissors. If you rather just write the words on the line, that's fine. And then we're going to put the loudest word on the far right. Now the loudest word we have is roared. So we're going to put this on the far right. Again, we're sorting them from the quietest word to the loudest. So I used roared already, and I have silent. So now you're going to fill in the rest of the words between silent and roared. Again, we're starting with silent and we're choosing which sound gets louder and louder and louder. And there is not just one right answer, but you do have to be able to explain why you put the words wherever you put them on the line. You can pause the video here to go ahead and get started. You can unpause when you're ready to check your work. Because on the next part, I do have an answer key for you to check your work. So we have silent as the quietest word, then soundlessly builds up to whisper, then to murmur, then to mumble, then to groaned, then to shouted and shrieked, and roared is the loudest. So check your work, make sure you have your words in order on your line. Again, if you have some words flipped around, that's okay as long as you can explain why you put them where you did on the line. And then you are done with the deep dive for today.